Why does Lesotho exist? Lesotho, officially the Kingdom of Lesotho, is a landlocked country entirely surrounded by South Africa. It is the southernmost landlocked country in the world. It is the largest of the world's three independent states, completely surrounded by the territory of another country, with Vatican City and San Marino being the other two. Lesotho is very mountainous. In fact, it has the highest lowest point of any country. No other nation can claim a base altitude as lofty as Lesotho's, 4,593 feet, that is 1,400 meters. It is the only independent state on the planet which exists entirely above 1,000 meters, that is 3,281 feet. Hence, its apt nickname, Kingdom of the Sky. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on exciting content. The name Lesotho roughly translates into the land of the people who speak Sotho. It is often called the roof of Africa, since the rugged land ranges from 5,000 feet in the western lowlands to more than 11,000 feet in the majestic Maloti Mountains, which cover the majority of the country and form the northeastern arc of Lesotho's circumferential boundary with South Africa. Despite the beauty of the land, poverty is on the increase, closely linked to a lack of income and employment opportunities, as well as severe land degradation. About 70% of the people live in rural areas, where more than half the population is poor. They live on what they can produce on small plots of land. Many areas are accessible only by horseback or light plane. 40 years of military junta, coup d'etat, and guerrilla warfare have taken its toll. In the early 21st century, Lesotho began experiencing a turnaround. A ceremonial monarchy was in place, the military had retired from political involvement, and two peaceful, if not completely trouble-free elections had been held. Its natural beauty is leading to the creation of a tourism industry. Lesotho is working jointly with South Africa in the preservation and promotion of the Maloti-Drakensberg mountain range. Why does Lesotho exist? Before we dive into the question, let's talk a little on the history of Lesotho to help us figure out why it exists. The earliest inhabitants of the mountainous area were Khoisan hunter-gatherers, who were largely replaced by the waves of Bantu-speaking tribes that migrated from Eastern Central Africa during the 17th century. The two ethnic groups intermarried and became known as Basutos or Basutos. Formerly Basutoland, the present Lesotho emerged as a state under paramount chief Moshoeshoe I in 1822 as a mountain fastness defensible against the Zulu. It was recognized by Britain in 1843 and became the High Commission territories in 1868. Granted autonomy in 1965, its name changed when Lesotho gained full independence from the United Kingdom on October 4, 1966. Further evolution of the state emerged from conflicts between British and Dutch colonists, leaving the Cape Colony following its seizure from the French allied Dutch by the British in 1975, and also from the Orange River Sovereignty and subsequent Orange Free State. Missionaries Thomas R. Busset, Eugene Casales, and Constant Goslin from the Paris Evangelical Missionary Society, invited by Moshoeshoe I, were placed at Morija, developing Sesotho orthography and printed works in the Sesotho language between 1837 and 1855. The case for the constitutional monarchy becoming South Africa's 10th province is overwhelming. The youngsters of Lesotho are taught that their country exists because King Moshoeshoe I, the founder of the Basotho people, defied the Boers and British in the late 1800s. In actuality, the British enabled the kingdom to survive so that the Orange Free State Boers could not reach the sea. Many Basotho looked to the government of South Africa for compassion. So, why is Lesotho a country? The short answer is that the people of what is now Lesotho were rebellious and refused to submit to British hegemony. Thus, they were excluded from South Africa along with the more easily controlled people. The extended version necessitates some background knowledge. The Union of South Africa was the forerunner to the Republic of South Africa. In 1910, the Union was formed from the merger of 4 different colonies: the Cape, Natal, Transvaal, and Orange Free State. Lesotho, then known as Basutoland, was left out. King Moshoeshoe had merged the numerous Basotho peoples into one tribe in the 1810s to the 1820s. Wars with the Boer settlers erupted regularly, and the Basotho continued to lose land, although importantly retaining their cultural identity. Trek Boers from Cape Colony arrived on the western borders of Basutoland and claimed ownership to its land, the first of which being Jan de Winnaar, who had settled in the Madlakeng area in 1838. Incoming Boers also attempted to colonize the land between the 2 rivers and the north of the Caledon, claiming that it had been abandoned by the Sotho people. Moshoeshoe subsequently signed a treaty with the British governor of the Cape Colony, Sir George Thomas Napier, which annexed the Orange River Sovereignty where Boers had settled. After repelling several British attacks, in 1852, Moshoeshoe sent an appeal to the British commander that settled their disputes diplomatically. In 1854, the British pulled out of the region, and in 1858, Moshoeshoe fought a series of wars with the Boers in what is known as the Free State Basotho War. As a result, Moshoeshoe lost a portion of the western lowlands. The last war with the Boers ended in 1867, when Moshoeshoe appealed to Queen Victoria, who agreed to make Basutoland a British protectorate in 1868. In 1869, the British signed a treaty at Aliwal North with the Boers that defined the boundaries of Basutoland. This treaty reduced Moshoeshoe's kingdom to half its previous size by ceding the western territories. Moshoeshoe died on the 11th of March 1870, marking the beginning of the colonial era of Basutoland. The British attempted to annex Basutoland to Cape Colony after Moshoeshoe died in 1870. The Basotho people were angered by this turn of events and rebelled against the colonial authority. During the years 1871 to 1884, they caused enough difficulty that the British de-annexed Basutoland and granted the Basotho considerable self-government. Basutoland was treated similarly to other territories that had been forcibly seized during the Cape Colony period between 1871 and 1884, much to the embarrassment of the Basotho, which led to the Basotho-Gun War from 1880 to 1881. The region was made into a crown colony in 1884, with Maseru as its capital, taking the name Basutoland. It continued to be directly governed by a governor, although tribal leaders actually held the real power within the country. In 1910, the Union of South Africa was being founded, and the British wanted Basutoland to be included. The Basotho, on the other hand, had self-governance powers that the other colonies lacked, therefore they rejected the measure and kept their status as a separate crown colony. Basutoland gained its independence from the United Kingdom and became the Kingdom of Lesotho in 1966. After apartheid, any idea of a union with South Africa became unthinkable, and Lesotho has remained independent to this day. The Lesotho government is now a parliamentary or constitutional monarchy. The Prime Minister, Mokgweetsi Majoro, is the head of government and has executive authority. The King of Lesotho, Letsie III, is the head of state and serves a largely ceremonial function. He doesn't possess any executive authority and is prohibited from actively participating in political initiatives. So there you have it, guys. everything you need to know about why Lesotho exists. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to share with a friend.